Hi, this is Larry London. We welcome you to Border Crossings here on the Voice of America. And today from his home in Dublin, Ireland. No, actually, it's Belfast, if I'm not mistaken.
Belfast, that's it.
Belfast. How far is Belfast from Dublin?
It's not too bad. It's like 2 hours, like a 2 hour drive.
2 hours. Okay, so he is currently in Belfast. It's Gareth Dunlop who is with us today. We're talking about a brand new album called Animal. We welcome you to the Voice of America. And how is everything in Ireland right now? How's the weather? How's COVID? What's going on there at home?
Thanks for having me on, first of all. And the weather is it's been pretty grey for the last kind of few weeks. I think everybody's just about ready for some summer weather to come in. COVID wise, it's a strange one to talk to because it's still very much here. I think there's a mixture of people just kind of being fed up with it. Thankfully, hospitalizations have kind of bottomed out a good bit, but people are still getting sick nonetheless. It's such a horrible thing.
It's hard to keep track because, in some places the cases are going up, some they're going down. And like here, they're relaxing face masks in certain areas and in schools and on mass transportation, airplanes, whatever. In other countries like Hong Kong, where it was not too bad, it's getting worse. And in Vietnam, it's really, really bad. So I'm not sure, what the situation, the status is in Ireland. Most people there have been vaccinated, I assume?
Yes, I think the majority of folks have been vaccinated, yeah.
So musically speaking, why did you choose to get into music? I mean, why did Gareth Dunlop at age 14 pick up a guitar and say, this is what I want to do?
Well, it came out of nowhere for me. I mean, I grew up, yes, singing in the backseat of the car, but I wasn't really surrounded by musicians or surrounded by a lot of music in my house. And it was strange, this bolt of lightning. One day I was just flicking through like a magazine and I saw this picture of a Stratocaster type guitar. And it was like, I have to have this. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I have to have it. And my dad had an old Yamaha lying around, an old acoustic. And he said, look, learn some chords on this. And then, I badgered him. And eventually he broke down and bought me that Stratocaster type guitar. I think, about my 14th birthday. And it just very quickly became a bit of an addiction. I just wanted to play as loud and as fast as I possibly could. And the acoustic guitar and the singing came a little bit later, but all of that was really just due to what I was listening to. And the more and more I got into music, the more I wanted to surround myself with like-minded fools. I wanted to go and seek out, guys and girls who were playing drums, playing bass, who wanted to do the same thing and just be around music. And that all really came together when I went to music college. That was all right, I found my people, I found my tribe, and I've been very, very blessed to be able to keep the lights on in the house through music. It's it's still, I got to pinch myself every now and again.
Well, you've been very modest because you had, tremendous success. You've got music in an upcoming film. You've had music in other films, TV commercials, Disney, Subaru, things like that. So your music's been around the block. Your music's been heard in a few corners of the world. And of course, you've traveled a lot and toured and performed a lot. Now, growing up, I read that you were influenced by a lot of different classic rock artists. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bob Dylan was among them. I saw some other names like that. But yet you're in a place where U2 reigns supreme and recent years Westlife and things like that. So, I mean, those bands had no influence. You were American classic rock raised, I guess.
It was, I think so for the most part. And it was down to a neighbor of mine was getting rid of bin bags full of old vinyl and an old vinyl player. And I asked him, I said, well, hey, can I have that? Can I check it out? And I just went through these records and if I liked the look of a cover, I was like, okay, cool, I'll stick this on, see what it's about. Oh, Bob Dylan, well, he sounds cool. And I can remember the first time, that was a real revelation, going from listening to, just wanting to play electric guitar, listening to Hendrix, all the Guitar God stuff, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. And I picked up this Dylan record. It was Blood on the Tracks. I thought the cover was real cool. And I stuck it on and I was like, oh, okay, I want to do that. That sounds good. I want to know how to do that. So I started flirting with the idea of trying to write songs myself. But my brother, just because you mentioned U2, was and is a massive U2 fan, so U2 was always getting played around the house when I was growing up.
Of course. You can't be Irish without having attended or owned at least some U2 music.
Yeah, that's the rules.
That's the rules of the country. You got to drink the green beer, and you got to attend the U2 concert. So, I mean, you mentioned your vinyl collection, and I understand it's quite vast. How many vinyl records do you have in your collection?
I have no idea. It's a lot. It's an awful lot.
Thousands, I assume.
Well, definitely it would be over 1,000, I'm sure. I got a lot of 45s as well, stacked up in tins, and when the kids were born, I had to put some of that stuff away because we were just running out of room. So I need to go back in and dig a lot of stuff out, a lot of stuff that I've probably forgotten about. But there's nothing like it. I don't know how you feel about it, but there's a tactile sense of putting on a record. There's no, I mean, yes, I listen to Spotify, and the convenience of it is amazing, but there's something purposeful. You got to carve out time to put on a record and sit down and listen to it from top to bottom while you're doing something. There's I don't know, it's almost like a ritual. Right.
And I missed the fun experience of trying to put the stylus down on the album with it, without scratching my way through the whole song.
Yeah.
But we've got Gareth Dunlop here with us, who is at home in Ireland and has a new album out, which is called Animal. We're going to ask if you wouldn't mind doing a song for us.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be delighted to. Let me see. I think the first song I'll play, it'd be the first single from the record. Came out a while back. It's called "Look Back Smiling." This is a song.
What's this song about?
Yeah, it's a song I wrote. I wrote this song for my son through the lockdowns and through COVID and him missing out so much of his first year in school. We'd noticed that he'd really kind of retreated into himself a little bit. He'd went into his shell, and when he finally went back to school, I think there was a real shell shock kind of moment of just being around a lot of people for the first time in such a long time. And he kind of retreated into himself. And I just had that sense of, I want him to take life by the horns. I want him to live with no regrets. And when he does look back on his life, I want him to be able to look back smiling. And that was the beginnings of why I wrote this song.
Mm-hmm. And the song's called
Look Back Smiling.
Look Back Smiling. Here is Gareth Dunlop on Border Crossings.
Time creeps up, whispers in your ear, tells you all the things only the older soul see. I want you head held high, with a fire in your heart and a pride deep in your eyes. Smiling, smiling, smiling. When the last of the leaves are falling from the tree, and you're on the last lines of your page in history, I want you to have given your all, to say that you got back up after every single fall. When the lights stop shining, there's no rewinding. Life's as fast as lightning. So when you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When there's more road behind you than there is up front, and the hunter in your heart has almost finished up the hunt, I want you like a man untamed, like a lion in the wild looking over his domain. Smiling, smiling, smiling. When you're on the last rotation going round this sun, steady as she goes on a journey almost done, I want you to have had more than your fill, to have taken every chance the way I know you will. When the lights stop shining, there's no rewinding. Life's as fast as lightning. So when you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When you look back smiling. life's as fast as lightning. So when you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When you look back smiling. Look back smiling. When you look back smiling. Look back smiling.
Border Crossings, and that is Gareth Dunlop with a song called Look Back Smiling, which was inspired by one of the two boys. You have two sons. How old?
I got a son and I got a daughter.
Oh, you have one of each, a boy and a girl. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you wrote a song for her because, you know, she's going to be saying dad. I mean.
Yeah, I have. I've written plenty of songs for Joni. Now, there isn't one on this particular record. I'm stockpiling them. I think that's going to be for the next record.
Yeah, make it a whole album for Joni. Call it an album for Joni. There it is. It's all done. So, I mean, how old is your son and your daughter? How old are they?
So Wilson is 5 and Joni.
Oh, Wilson. This is cool. I like that name. He's 5.
And Joni is 8 years old.
And 8. Okay, so they're at the age where they can start to understand that dad is kind of a public figure. And so how do they process all that? That what dad does and his music is out on the radio and people are screaming and cheering. Do they go to your concerts and things? I mean, how does that process to them? You
know, I think they've, to a certain extent, they've grown up with it. They don't know any different. They've grown up around a lot of musicians coming and going here in the house, in my studio. They've been surrounded by instruments and cables and compressors and preamps, you name it. So it's really been something that they've grown up being exposed to. So they never really ask too many questions. I think they get a buzz. That they're that age when they're on YouTube and they're looking at stuff. And actually, the video for "Look Back Smiling," which I played there, Wilson and Joni are both in the video. They saved me from having to be on camera, which is something I rarely do well with. So yeah, we got them involved and they had a blast. And I think, you know, they really got a kick out of seeing themselves on YouTube and all that good stuff. And well, one day they're going to realize just how much dad really does love them, that you picked them over keeping the vinyl records, that you had to get rid of some so that they'd have space in the house. And that's going to resonate, I'm sure, with them. Yeah. But I'm also interested to know if they are musically inclined. Do they show any interest towards music? You know, they definitely do. That, you know, I catch them singing around the house, and Joni plays on the old upright piano every now and again, just kind of figuring it out. And Wilson, he has a little acoustic guitar. It's not something that I've wanted to really push them into. I want them to find it themselves almost. Kind of like I did. You know, it's the old fable of, you know, your mum or your dad making you go to piano lessons to learn piano, and then, you know, you hit 14 or 15 and you never want to see a piano again. I want them to kind of find it, and if they're into it, they'll have all the tools at their disposal. It is a really challenging time to be a parent in today's world. You have COVID to try and explain to kids. You have lots of social issues, LGBTQ community rights, and things that are going on there. You have the Black Lives Matter movement. You have all the tensions right now in Ukraine. It's tough to be a parent today with what's going on. Yeah, it's very difficult knowing what to bring into their world and what not to bring into their world. When I look back at my upbringing, there were echoes of the Troubles in Belfast, and my dad was a firefighter, so as we grew up, we heard firsthand a lot of the horrors that were going on around the city. I can remember standing at the front door from time to time as a very young kid and hearing gunshots and hearing explosions. And it's very odd in a way that, yes, I'm sure it affected me on some level. But when I look back at my upbringing, I was a happy kid. I had such a great childhood, and I wonder, do we try to protect them too much from what's actually happening in the world? Because when I was growing up, the news was always on the TV. We were exposed to all that stuff. We saw the fighting, we saw the conflict, and I think, the kind of natural reaction with me certainly is to, okay, I don't want them to see that stuff. They're too young to see it. Every day is a bridge to cross. It's a new bridge to cross.
Right. And you mentioned when you were growing up, it was different. I think today we can gauge the difference in your age and my age by the fact when I grew up, there were 3 TV channels. Mm-hmm. And today, and when you grew up, probably was 150. Now there's 500 channels. And when I grew up, they were black and white. I'm sure you had color. But, times have changed. The industry has changed. Now you can sell singles instead of albums. You've chosen to put out an album. Tell me about the album Animal. I mean, what's the inspiration for the album? Why did you call it Animal?
So the record started with the title track of the album, Animal. And it was one of those songs, it happens every now and again, where it kind of just, the song falls out. There's not too much, you don't have to labor over it so much. I was sitting right there at the piano and I had kind of a left-hand riff idea, and very quickly the lyrics fell out onto the sheet. And I remember thinking, I haven't written anything like this. This is definitely left of center from where I would usually kind of aim. And I was intrigued by it. I was intrigued by what was on the page, and I thought, I wonder, are there any more songs like that in me? Thinking that it may be a project, it may be an EP or a series of singles. But I took my time, and it became a record. It became the Animal album. I started cutting it probably, 3 years ago. Felt like I had it together. It was all ready. And then obviously COVID hit, and I think like a lot of artists and musicians, we just shelved what we had at that time, put it away because we couldn't tour, we couldn't play the songs live on stage in front of folks. So when I eventually came back to it, once the world started getting a bit brighter and tours and gigs started happening again, I quickly realized that I didn't care for a few of the songs maybe as much as I did, and I had written some more songs like Look Back Smiling. So there was a bit of a change up, and I think in hindsight, it was probably a good thing having that time away from the project, not listening to it, and so it was a real kind of two-parter.
And I think the technology helped us survive COVID. I mean, because look at us talking now. I'm here in Washington. You're at home in Ireland. There's a big time difference. There's thousands and thousands of miles between us, and ocean and whatnot. But here we are talking, and probably during COVID, you connected with fans. You might have done some viral virtual, performances and reach people that would be beyond just a 200-seat, 500-seat, 1,000-seat venue. You could reach Japan at the same time you're talking to Nigeria, do a performance. So the technology has helped in many ways, and so I think that's what helped us get through COVID in many ways. Certainly in your industry,
massively. I mean, because of things like Zoom and audio movers and things, I was able to continue working on records. I was able to continue working on other people's records as a producer, just doing this, which blows my mind now. It blew my mind at the time, being able to do it. And you just have to. You can look around in so many industries now who had to change how they did stuff, and it's become part of their their daily work today. Even though COVID is easing down in certain parts of the world, I think we had no choice. We just had to embrace the technology, but it's been huge.
And you were talking about the Animal album. You wrote some songs on the piano behind you. I understand it's your mother-in-law's piano.
It is. It is my mother-in-law's mother's piano. Yeah.
Oh, your mother-in-law's mother.
Yeah, it's
your grandmother-in-law.
My grandmother-in-law. Yeah, that's her piano. It's not an incredible piano by anybody's standards, but I love old upright pianos. I think every one of them has their own voice and their own kind of signature, and you just have to lean into it. It's one of those things. It is what it is. This is never going to sound like a 9-foot Steinway, but that can be a good thing in the right circumstances. It's a cool.
Do you put that piano on the album? Can we hear that actual piano?
Yeah. No,
you can.
Yeah, it's all over the record. Yeah.
Wow. That would be cool. That'd be really cool. We've got Gareth Dunlop with us here on Border Crossings, and we're talking about his newest album, Animal. How many albums is this for you?
This is the second full-length album, second full-length record, yeah. There's been a bunch of EPs and singles that have been popped out online to coincide with, different things that have landed in TV shows and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second full length record.
Mm. And so, what are you going to do next for us?
I think I'm going to go back to an older song. It's a song that was on a previous EP called Many Moons Ago. The song's called Devil Like You, and this song ended up in a really cool TV show called Lucifer. So yeah, I'll give that a go.
All right, Gareth Dunlop, Devil Like You, Border Crossings.
I'm in too deep. You're the fix I've come to need. Oh no, look what you've done to me. You caught me off guard. My soul bears the marks. Oh no, this thing has gone too far. It's too late, I can't escape. Only a devil like you could make me sin like I do. I got a weakness, I am a fool for a devil like you. I just can't get my fill. Oh no, this kind of love could kill. It's too late, I can't escape. Only a devil like you could make me sin like I do. I got a weakness, I am a fool for a devil like you. Only a devil like you can make me sin like I do. I got a weakness, I am a fool for a devil like you.
Border Crossings, we're listening to the music of Gareth Dunlop, who is with us today. And the song we just heard is a song from a few years ago and a TV show, Lucifer, which was quite popular here around the United States and around the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a big one. It was a cool moment. I had a lot of friends who watched the show, and it was like, hey, you're never going to guess. I got a song.
What's that feeling like when you go into a movie theater, you're watching the film, and there's your song? You want to stand up and say, that's me, but you don't, because people don't realize it.
I've had a few moments. I've only went to the theater on purpose to hear my song in a movie once. I did it one time, me and my wife. It was a song called Wrap Your Arms Around Me. It was in a movie called Safe Haven a few years back. And it was so surreal. And as you say, you kind of do want to go, hey, that's me,
You look, hey!
Yeah, very, very, very odd. There's been a couple of occasions, like I've been on a flight, and the person next to me is watching a TV show or a movie. I'm kind of going, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do you like that song?
I never have, but I've thought.
No, you gotta hear. You just kind of want to. You like that song, and then have them say, yeah, why? Because it's me.
Yeah, it's crazy though. It's another one of those pinch me moments.
Right. And so you've got a new song in a new film coming up. Tell me about that.
Oh, so yes, there's. I was approached to write a song for a documentary that's coming out on the life of Faulkner, William Faulkner. They're putting a documentary. I think it's the first authorized documentary about his life and his writings. And they came to me and asked me would I sit down and write something for the end titles. And you know, it's always interesting writing the brief. You kind of take yourself out of your own seat a little bit, and somebody gives you their own parameters. And we kind of need it to feel like this. We'd love it if it said something like this, and then it's like, all right, you start throwing the paint on the wall and trying to refine it all. And I co-wrote that song with a good buddy of mine, a great artist called Lee Rogers, who I've been working with this last few years. So yes, we sat down and started messing around with a few ideas, and the song is called "The Past Is Never Dead," which of course is it's a famous Faulkner quote. So we were able to work that in, and yes, the filmmakers, thankfully, were very happy with it, and have used it in the documentary.
Have you had any interest or desire to score an entire film?
That's something I would love to do. I would love to try. It's been a long time since I've worked on notation. It was something I did in college, and I was by no means fast at it, but I really enjoyed it. I found it very challenging. I have a completely different way to work. A lot of the time I would tend to just work by ear, but I would love to try it. There's something about, I've always been really intrigued about how a piece of film can be really elevated by the right piece of music. It can take it 100 different directions. The wrong song can make a horror film seem like a comedy. It plays such an important role. I would love to try.
I don't think there's anything that you wouldn't be afraid to tackle, given the fact that you were in an ABBA cover band at one point in your career. I mean, there's a good Irish boy singing Swedish songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a trip. So that started out. It was my sister and her friend. They fronted the group, and it started out just she said, come along and help us with the gear, and we'll pay you 50 quid.
You could be Bjorn.
Mm-hmm. And one week somebody, it may have been either Bjorn or Benny, didn't turn up to get into the costume, and they were a man down. So I put on the white sequin suit, and it was the girls, my sister and Carrie, they sang it live and beautifully, but the music behind it was all mini disc. So my job was to stand at the keyboard, which wasn't plugged in, with my hair and makeup and a wig, and hit play.
And then you were lip syncing. You're actually playing.
Completely lip syncing. Now the girls were singing live, but no, I didn't completely. It was one of those. I still look back on it, and it's just so surreal to be in. And I can only describe it as some pretty dark, sweaty, nightclubs and bingo halls and weird places that we played every week. And you have a few drinks, you get into the white sequin suit, and you do your gig. It was good. It was a lot of fun.
So do you drink Guinness there? Is that what you like to drink?
I love Guinness.
Guinness, yeah. I could never. I don't know. Something like it's like mud. It's an acquired taste. It's so thick.
It is, yeah, it is. The right Guinness is very, very thick. And yeah, I have to say I'm a big fan of it. It's like,
of course you are. You're from Ireland. You have to be.
It's like a full.
I was always wondering, talking to I said to myself, the next time I have a guest on from Ireland, I have to ask, how do you guys celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Since we just had it, a month ago or so here in the U.S. I mean, we make green bagels and green beer, and everybody wears St. Patty gear and stuff with the leprechaun stuff. How does the people in Ireland mark? I mean,
depending on whereabouts in the country you are. I mean, I know Dublin definitely goes pretty crazy for it. Here in Belfast, yeah, there's a few parades. I think the bars just get a little bit fuller. It spills onto the street. But no, I mean, I've seen pictures of what happens in the States, and particularly Chicago, I guess. And I don't think anything to that level, that extravaganza happens
Right.
in
You
Ireland.
see those crazy Americans.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really go for it.
Gareth Dunlop, BBC called him one to watch. And we are watching and we are listening to him today. He's joining us to talk about his new album, Animal. And so how about a tour? Are you planning to tour now that COVID is behind us, at least in the rearview mirror?
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited. I'm going to be hitting the road with a great artist called Foy Vance. And we're going to be all through the States in the month of May. We're going to be on a tour bus together. And traveling all over. We're in New York, Woodstock, Philadelphia, Seattle, Nashville. We're in a lot of places, and the dates are online. They're up on my website, GarethDunlop.com, and you can find them on Foy's website as well. But I'm very much looking forward to playing these songs in front of folks and engaging. How they go down.
Yes. That's why you're in the business, right? You like the actual live response.
That's it. I mean, it's a lot of fun putting stuff together in the studio, but that's really only half of the story. It's getting out there and I'm moving the air in a venue.
So the website, the tour, the information about you, it's all there online if people want to, keep in touch with you. And I know that you're going to do another song for us. I assume this might be the next single off of Animal, if I'm not mistaken, I would assume.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to play My Kind of Paradise.
I like that.
It's a song. I started writing this song when I was in LA a few years back. It had been a particularly long trip out in the States, doing a lot of writing and doing some shows. I think I was away for about a month and a half, and I was really starting to feel it. I was missing home, and I was in LA on the beach in a place that's paradise to so many people, and all I could think of was, okay, I need to go home. I want to be home, and yeah, that was the beginnings of this.
All right, well, let's check it out. Here's an upcoming new song from Gareth Dunlop here on Border Crossings.
Don't need sun on my skin or salt on the breeze to calm the storms within or set my soul at ease. 'Cause I found heaven in your eyes. It's my kind of paradise. My kind of paradise. Don't need wide oceans blue or skies clear. Oh, there's only one view can take me miles from here. I found magic in your eyes. It's my kind of paradise. My kind of paradise. My kind of paradise. My sweet escape, my secret room, my getaway place nobody knows. My hidden treasure in your eyes lies my kind of paradise. My kind my kind of paradise.
That's Gareth Dunlop, My Kind of Paradise. That's off of the brand new album Animal. And it's a song that I guess you said came about in Los Angeles. So, it's kind of, I'd like to know, do you have favorite places that you like to travel? Do you have favorite places you like to perform? You've been, just about everywhere in the U.S. and Los Angeles and Nashville. You're on tour in the U.S. You're on tour around the world. Of course, you're known back home in Ireland and all throughout Europe and the U.K. So, are there places in particular you look forward to going, especially?
Yeah, there's a few. Nashville is very close to my heart. I spent a long time going back and forth to Nashville and getting to know the music community there. And I've recorded in a lot of studios out there. Met a lot of engineers and producers and written a lot of songs with a lot of very, very talented songwriters. And I enjoy the food. I gotta say, I enjoy that kind of southern food. It's dangerous, but it's good. So yeah, I have a lot of friends in Nashville. I always love going there. Somewhere else that I kind of feel like it calls on me is Germany. I've played shows in Germany in the past and spent some time there, but I have a great time every time I go. I have a great time in Berlin. I have a great time in Stuttgart. Again, great food. And the people, I really enjoy the Germans' kind of company. There's a little bit of a standoffishness, but once that kind of goes away after an hour, it's like it's a buddy for life.
Wow. That's great. Yeah, I can just, I can only imagine that traveling the world must be a tremendously rewarding experience and having fans and followers in so many different places. I imagine the audiences are different in different countries. I mean, how do you compare, let's say, when you perform in America to when you perform in Germany? What's the response or the differences in the responses?
I would even just say every venue is kind of different. For me, I think depending on the venue and the feel of it, that kind of informs how a crowd feels, when someone kind of gets up on stage. I've had great times playing in Germany and equally great times playing in the States. One of my favorite places to play in Nashville is their city winery, and it's lovely. It's real nice. Folks are having dinner, they're having some wine, and they're very quiet and respectful. And you got some time on stage to just try to capture their hearts and minds for a bit. I've played some shows in Berlin, which might as well have been like I should have been with a metal band backing me up. People are just they're ready to explode. And I enjoy both sides of it. I really do.
And when you're on the road, is it an electric band that you're with, or is it acoustic? What are you doing on the road?
Well, for this run with Foy in May through the States, I'm going to be opening up on my own for him as well. I'll probably go between piano and acoustic guitar and try to keep it simple. And then I'm part of his band on bass when he takes to the stage. But if I can, a lot of the time I'll play with drums, I'll play with some bass and maybe a piano player, and maybe another electric guitar player, something like that, just for what the situation calls for.
And if somebody were to come to you, I like to ask this to all songwriter performers. If somebody came to you and said, Gareth, you can only pick one thing for the rest of your career. You can only pick one part of this business. Is it the songwriting? Is it the performing? Is it the touring? Is it the singing? What's your favorite part of this business?
Wow, that is tough. Right here, right now, I think I would have to say the songwriting. I think because it's a release for me. It's my own little way to put my the world around me to rights. It helps me get stuff out. There's a therapeutic side to it. But ask me tomorrow, ask me in the middle of May, and I may say, no, I need to just be on stage.
Did songwriting start as poetry for you, or was it just you go right into the songwriting thing?
I just went into the songwriting thing, not really understanding how to do it, just taking cues and leads from what I was listening to at the time. It was really listening to some of those records the Dylan stuff and Tom Waits. It was like, okay, I need to know how to do this. I want to try and figure out how to write a song and start to dissect it and go, okay, well that's I guess that's the verse and here's the chorus, and okay, there's a pre-chorus there, and how do I do this? I look back at older songs that I've written, as a kid, and they're horrendous. But
yeah, I was going to ask. I like to ask you. Do you ever go back and look at something you wrote at 14 and say, I want to record it again? It's a lot of artists revise or bring back old stuff.
There's definitely a part of it that's I definitely had no tools. I didn't really understand what I was doing, but at the same time there was a little bit of a fearlessness with it, because I knew that nobody was ever going to hear this stuff. This is for me. This is my diary right here.
Right.
So there was a lot of unintentional rule breaking, which I enjoy hearing that part of it. I'm like, wow, I definitely didn't mean to do that, but that's really interesting, hearing that back in the cold light of day. So never say never. I need to go back and dig out some of those old songs and see if there's a part of one of them, or I might get lucky. Maybe there's a whole song there that needs dusted off.
Well, this is a very exciting time for you. I mean, to finally be getting back out on the road and to have a new product, to be out on the road promoting and singing. So it's a very exciting time to be a singer-songwriter. We hope that you will come and visit us in Washington, D.C. when you do perform here in the D.C. area. We hope to be back in the studios in the next upcoming weeks or month. And we'd love to have you, come into the studio live once the album's out, or maybe when you're working on the next album. That would be great, because
I love that.
Love your music, love your sound, and it's a pleasure to talk to you and have you on the show. Is there anything you'd like to say to the worldwide audience before we go, and the troops that are tuned in?
Let me see. I guess the only thing I can leave you with is just to say a few words about the record. It's I feel like it's one of the most selfish and honest collections of songs that I've put together. I kind of unplugged myself from the brief writing to movie scenes and writing for TV shows. I purposefully took myself out of that to sit down and really try to figure out what it is that I want to say on the big themes of life. And I hope everybody who listens to it gets a sense of that and gets something out of it.
Well, thank you, Gareth Dunlop, for being on Border Crossings today. Really appreciate having you on the Voice of America. The website, once again, if people want to follow you on tour and find out more information about you.
Yep, that's www.garethdunlop.com.
All right. And of course, the music's available on Spotify and Amazon and Untitled and wherever you can get music online these days. And thank you, Gareth, for being with us. Gareth Dunlop, our guest. Animal is the name of the new album. My name is Larry London, and this is Border Crossings on VOA TV.